All right, thanks. Thanks for having me back again. I appreciate it. You know, I have a couple questions for you. Outside of you two, because I know how many of you have a certified food handler certification or have had one in the past? Okay, good. So a lot of this information is probably going to be a review or refresher for you. Really, there's two concepts that I want to, concepts or points or things I want to emphasize that I want you to walk away with today. And they are Fat Tom and Hassan. So, let's start with Fat Tom. Who knows what Fat Tom is? Fat Tom? Okay. Well, I got a little handout for you here, and I'll just pass these around. Sure. Okay. Fat Tom. It's basically what food needs to become unsafe. Okay. It's how food becomes unsafe in an environment. So, in order, what bacteria needs to grow is what we call Fat Toms. And one of the things that we teach students in food safety and sanitation, they take a 16-week course on safety and sanitation. Because food can kill. I mean, we've all seen that. It's been in the news, you know, the old famous, those that have been around a while, the Jack in the Box, I don't know, that was 10, 15 years ago, where they killed a bunch of kids and older people. You know, the people that are more susceptible to foodborne illness are what? Elderly, children, or people with some type of immune system disease or deficiency. Okay? So, first time, Fat Tom is, the first acronym is food. Well, bacteria needs food to grow. Okay? You can't grow on a clean stainless steel counter. If it's clean and sanitized, it's not going to grow. It needs food to grow. Okay, the next thing is acidity. It needs low acid. Okay, food with high acid is less likely for bacteria to grow. It doesn't mean it can't grow, but it's going to be less likely to multiply and grow. So you think about things, what are some things that are low acid where bacteria might grow? Beef, raw beef, raw chicken. What else?
Fish.
Fish. About bread. Bread. Bread is considered a low acid food and it's something that can go. Milk, cooked corn. What about mayonnaise? No. Mayonnaise has a pH level high enough that it's going to inhibit bacteria growth. So everybody thinks, oh, the mayonnaise, you know, the cooked potato salad says, ah, well, it's not really the mayonnaise, it's the cooked potato. That's going to have a problem. Because mayonnaise typically has lemon juice in it, and lemon juice is high acid, so that's going to inhibit bacteria growth. So that's one of your picnic myths spelled. Temperature. Okay, who knows what the temperature danger zone is?
Yes. 41 to 140.
41 to
141. 140.
Used to be 140. It's new. 135. 41 to 135 is considered the danger zone. Okay. Bacteria really multiplies and grows between 70 and 125 degrees. So temperature is an issue. So if you've got coolers that aren't working, you know, those types of things are it's, you know, you go to those cold food tables and they set open, and you know the top of it, you know, you stick your thermometer in the bottom of the mayonnaise and it's maybe at 40 degrees, but the top of it, they leave the lid open on that sandwich table for 3 or 4 hours, and the top of it's uncovered. You know, they might have turkey in it. It's not going to be cold. It's not going to be the right temperature. Time. Time is another thing. You know, the longer it stays in that danger zone, the faster it's going to multiply. And bacteria multiplies, you know, just it keeps growing and multiplying fat is food, acidity, temperature. Tom, we have time, oxygen. Okay, now typically most bacteria need oxygen, but there are bacteria that can grow without oxygen. So, cooked rice, or untreated garlic and oil mixture. Bacteria can grow in those without oxygen. Then moisture. There has to be some water activity. Okay, the higher the moisture level, the faster it can grow. So those are things that, when you go around and you talk to your, folks, you can talk to them about fat time. The chef's fat time. Hey, you know about fat time? We call it fat time. But it's an easy acronym to remember when you're talking about keeping food safe. And it's one of the things that we try and get the students to remember as well. On this, I did provide, there's a whole bunch of slides that go along with that, but I did provide one on acidity because there's some pH levels and it kind of gives you that acidity level. And you can go online, wherever you get a list of foods that fall that are high acid, low acid, and that can really give you some more information for those kinds of things. Now, in your guys' training, most of you go, I'm sure you probably go through some type of training with the receiving department, and they go over how they handle received food and those types of things, right, in your warehouse. Do you do any of that? No? Okay. Maybe not. Well, when Todd took one of my classes around and toured the facility, we went back and saw where they received and talked to your food safety control guy. I can't remember what his exact title is. We talked about the HACCP plan, and you guys have a HACCP plan in place in your warehouse. Okay, and the HACCP plan, is part of the food safety management system. And I'm going to pass out. That's our Todd. And these are all slides. These are all part of the courses that we have. This is the book, the Serve Safe course book for the students. Now, there's food handler, food protection. There's other type of food handling certifications. But this is the one this is through the National Restaurant Association Education Foundation. It's nationally recognized. Most culinary schools use this. Did you guys use the Serve Safe? Most culinary schools use this as a standard for teaching chefs, students how to handle food safety. There's also a shorter version called the Serve Safe Essentials. And this is something that, I don't know if Stan wanted to consider that or not as a service you can offer to your clients. If one of you, Corey, or Mac, when you got the certified proctor instructor status, and maybe you could hold a class either in-house or go out to their establishment, because every establishment in Indiana has to have at least one, by law, supposed to have at least one food safe certified food handler on staff. Okay. In Illinois, the law is even more strict.
Is it on staff or is it in the building and all that?
It's on staff.
Okay. So they are
No. Now in Illinois, because when I was in multi-unit division in Illinois, there has to be one person on staff during all opening hours. So we had 24/7 restaurants. So we had to have somebody, food handler certified, for every single shift, every day. Midnight, so you get certified lots of employees. So the more the people that you have certified, the more, the health department shows up. Okay. So you can go, you can go online. There's some criteria. You go to the National Restaurant Association Education Foundation website. There's some criteria for being able to become a certified instructor, but it's not hard. You have to sit through a class. You you have to have your own, you have to be certified first, and you have to sit through a class that talks about how to effectively deliver the material. And then they have material and PowerPoints, all that stuff that you can use, so you don't have to set up the class. So it's a good service you can offer to your customers. You know, you could have them just buy the books, the baby, and it doesn't really cost you anything. So, but the food safety management system, okay? You know, food safety, when you think about food safety, you think about all fat Tom. Well, it's more than just fat Tom. It's a group of practices and procedures that are intended to prevent foodborne illness. And it controls the risks and hazards throughout the flow of food. So what do we mean when we talk about the flow of food? Any idea? What's the flow of food? Receiving is part of it?
From the back door to the table.
Right. From the back door to the table. Even before it gets to the back door. You know, it has, the next couple pages have some things that are part of the foundation of food safety. You know, even before it gets to the back door, a lot of your customers, especially your larger accounts, they're going to want to come in and see how you guys are handling it. Because they want some assurance that what's coming from you is being handled as safe. Okay? So they're going to want some evidence of that. So they want to make sure you have a hands-on plan. Especially, you know, people like Notre Dame. You know, they're serving thousands of meals every day. And, you know, one contamination with one of their suppliers, you know, can nightmare. But it's a personal hygiene program. Okay, do you have that in place? Food safety training program. Whether you're certifying everybody or not, or you have some basic food safety instruction in your program. Supplier selection specification, we talked about that. Quality control and assurance. You know, we'll talk a little about HACCP on that. Cleaning and sanitation. You guys know, you know, I have a friend that is a delivery driver for another supplier. And he's like, you know, I know what restaurants I want to eat and what restaurants I don't. Because he delivers food to their kitchens. And, you know, I won't go to a certain restaurant. They see what's back there. You know, just cleaning and sanitation, some of the basics. You know, we read about it all the time. People are getting shut down because they don't have proper procedures in place. Health inspections, those types of things. You know, standard operating procedures. Do they have some standard operating procedures in place? You know, part of the HACCP plans are just basically temperature laws, making sure that you check the temperature of your equipment. You know, do they have some preventive maintenance program for their equipment? You know, so coolers don't go down or reducing the risk of them going down. And then pest control. You know, I'm confident, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm sure that Stan's has some pest control set up for their facility, because you know what, it's not necessarily how clean your facility is. Corrugated boxes are infamous for breeding or bringing in pests. You know, and how many boxes go through your establishment? I don't know, but I'm sure it's millions in a year. You know, and so it's not whether you have all the sanitation in place; it's whether the guy that you're getting the product from does. So whether you have it and whether your suppliers, manufacturers have it. So all those things go into active managerial control. Okay, the 5 most common risk factors for foodborne illness. Purchasing food from unsafe source. I mean, you see those reports where they're delivering, you know, refrigerated foods in unrefrigerated trucks. Oh, it's a, you know, you see those, I mean, 60 Minutes features by a bit expose on this in Chicago. We got these bands. Oh, I keep the air conditioner up real hot. Right, that's going to keep it out of that, you know, below 41 or frozen, going, you know, 10 degrees. Failing to cook food adequately. holding food at incorrect temperatures, using contaminated equipment. Really, the number one cause for foodborne illness is number 5, practicing poor personal hygiene. Somebody goes to the restroom, doesn't wash their hands, doesn't wash their hair. This, is a violation according to the health department. A watch. And the only jewelry you're allowed to have is on your hands, your leg. That's it. You're touching food. That's it. A watch, because food can come in there and grow. Your skin temperature's in that 70 to 125, right? Moisture, all those things, more sweating, you're working in a hot kitchen, all those things grow that bacteria. So, my wedding ring's even bad. I have to clean it out because it's got this little indent on it. So there's no wet. So, you have to make sure that those things are good. Poor personal hygiene, better to wash hands. And it could be a guy out in the field that's harvesting produce. So, we talked about some of the things that are actively controlling that. All right. So the FDA provides recommendations. Now, each county has their own rules and regulations, obviously. They can set their own county. It can't be any less strict than the FDA guidelines. They can be more strict. So, counties have, I've dealt with all different counties, and one of the worst health departments I ever dealt with was Champaign, Illinois. I mean, they probably remodeled a restaurant, they added $30,000 on the remodel because we had to have this backflow, this or that or the other thing. And finally, at one point, the president of our company said, "Look, you know what? I'm about ready just to shut this place down. If you don't want us in the town, do business with your town, that's fine. Because you guys are just way over the top. Because I can't continue to spend the same money. It's not a problem." So, most of the time, in most cases, our instructor for this class, 2 of the 3 sections that we teach on this class, the same thing. So our students are getting real world experience, exposure to what he looks for, what he sees. And he does a fantastic job. The students learn a lot. And I think it's one of the most important foundation classes they can take because, again, so let's go to page 8 there where it talks about the HACCP approach. Who knows what HACCP stands for? Hazard, Analysis, Critical Control. Right. Who knows where it was developed? Where it originated from? The HACCP program. Does that have to do with food? Meat factory? No. Does it have to do with food? No. NASA. NASA developed a program when they started space exploration. Because they want to know every step where anything could possibly go wrong. They have contingency plans for every single thing that could possibly go wrong. Pre-launch to launch to everything. So NASA really developed a program and lots of different industries adapting, to program because it can help prevent problems, and eliminate and reduce things from occurring. So it must be based on a written plan. Okay, you can say it has a plan, but if nothing's in writing, it's meaningless. So there has to be some evidence. And it's going to be different for every operation. Why? Why is it going to be different for every operation? Well, menu, right? Menu is menu driven, so if you don't have, not everybody's serving the same type of food. juice bar is going to have a lot different HACCP plan than a place that's receiving and cooking raw chicken. Because they have a lot less opportunity for contaminants because you're dealing with a lot of high acid product. So, this is seven principles on 810. Okay. The first one is conduct a hazard analysis. What is conducting a hazard analysis? Ideas? No? Yeah, identifying potential problem. Right? Some areas you mentioned earlier, like receiving, is a potential problem. What else might be a potential problem? Food preparation. Right? Where else? Storage. Right? Sanitation. The line. You know, we talked about the cold sandwich table being set there, not got up to 10. So those are potential areas. So you need to identify, TCS foods. When we talk about TCS foods, that's short for time temperature controlled foods that need to be time temperature controlled for safety. TCS is just a short way of saying it. So where do they occur? So there's a little flow chart there, and you can share this, copy these, share this with your people, customers. So you have to identify those critical control points. The critical control points are the back door when it's coming in. Okay, are you checking temperatures when it comes in? Recording those temperatures. I'm receiving raw chicken. If it's frozen, it should be frozen. Not half frozen, not thawed, partially thawed. If I'm receiving, meats or fresh poultry, it should be at or below that 41 degrees. 45, 50, bring it back to temperature. You don't know how it's been on a truck. You don't know how long it's been at that 50 degrees, right? So, and I'm going to be honest with you, I tell students this all the time. I said, you know what? If you don't check the product, your drivers know who doesn't check the product. Okay? If it sets in a zone that isn't checked, they know, hey, I can deliver it here. And they're going to check it. Same way produce. If you're not opening the cases, looking at the product, checking the date, it's a box of lettuce. Okay, that's it. Open the dang box and see if that lettuce brown. I don't care what the date says. So that doesn't mean that vacuum packed inside either gets punctured somehow. Turned brown. So I'm a big proponent of opening those boxes and seeing what's in it, knowing where the product's right. So there might be more than one critical control point for a product. Okay, so establish the critical limits. Okay, so you have to have some standard operating procedures. What are the critical limits for the product? What's acceptable? What isn't acceptable? Receiving frozen food, you're looking for ice crystals. It's got ice crystals on it, then it's positive frozen. And if something falls out of the temperature's danger zone, if you're checking it hourly, you're going to be safe because you can bring it back down to that temperature outside of the temperature's danger zone in a fast fashion by one of the things you can do is set on a cold table is just get a bus tub, ice water, ice bath, and put it in some ice bath. Get the temperature back down quickly. So as part of a line check, they should have checking temperature, logging temperatures of the things on that sandwich. Checking the temperature log. At Ivy Tech, at our school, we have temperature logs posted on the outside of every cooler. And every class is responsible before and after class for logging the temperature. Now, that's part of our accreditation. We have to have that as part of our accreditation. If we don't have it, that's a direct violation. We have to have HACCP plan in place. Monitoring procedures, we talked about that. Make sure you have temperature probes that are accurate. Everybody know how to calibrate one of these? Yeah? Anybody not know how to calibrate one? Okay. There's a little nut on the back here. On the back of this. Two ways. You can do boiling water. Water boils in what? What? Yeah, I know what pump water boils. Easiest way is the other way. Water boils in what? 212? Okay. The other easier way is to do an ice bath. Fill a glass with ice, put a little water in it, and ice bath should be about 32 degrees. So then you can just look at this and you can adjust the nut on the back. Because every time it's floor, it's off. Okay. So mine's off because I'm holding my hand and it's reading 62. I know it's not 62 degrees in here. I know it's not 62 degrees in my backpack. It's probably 62 degrees in my office. It's starting to go off. But I need to adjust it. So, you know, you have to have ways to check the critical limits. There's electronic temperature control. You know, the health department will not accept a exterior temperature on a cooler as an accurate reading. You have to have an interior monitor. So, you know, the little, you guys probably sell them, I'm sure. You know, there's an opportunity to go sell somebody a patch of those things, plus some extras. They always, one always knocks them off the shelf, knocks them down, gets broken, whatever. So they have to have things. So when you're walking around, you can see, hey, they don't have, you know, a box of thermometers, a box of 12, you know, put one in every cooler and have a couple extra for your office in case one breaks or something. So and you have to have who's gonna monitor it when. You have to identify corrective actions. What are the corrective actions we're going to take if something's wrong? So whether it's icing something or you know, bringing it up, put it back on the stove, putting it in the oven if it's not being held hot enough, those types of things. You have to have some type of action that you want to happen for that. Then verification that the system works. I mean, we know the system works if what? If we've identified hazards, implemented corrective action, and eliminated the danger. So we know the system's going to work if we have the logs, we have good records, and we make sure that somebody is following up on it on a regular basis. Document it. You know, it can help. It can help if somebody does get sick to show that, hey, we're not operating in a negligent fashion. We're doing this. We're doing this. Not sure. You know, people think they get sick from the last meal they had. It's usually not the last meal they had. It's usually the meal they had yesterday. You know, most things take at least 8 to 12 hours to show up. There's some that can't be too, most of them. You're not going to get sick until 8 to 12 hours after. And I've had foodborne illness before. Anybody had foodborne illness that I know was foodborne illness really? No fun. My mom was way quick. How do you know if you're sick? Food poisoning or DFPL? You don't always. You know, a lot of times some people won't take the food for that. The only real way to know is to test the food that you ate, or to go to the hospital and get some samples. Right. But hour later that night, temperature 101, I was in bad shape. Top of my head. It's no fun, terrible.
So you just have to wait it out, and that way take for it, you know?
Yeah, really. Good. And you know, if somebody has, you know, I'm a relatively healthy individual, if somebody has a immune deficiency or is elderly or young, I mean, it's going to potentially kill them.
Lucky you ate it instead of somebody else.
Yeah, and it's exactly my thought too. I don't think the manager probably thought that. No, it was too, the kitchen manager, I don't think was too happy that I had it versus somebody else. Because I did blow gas. You know, it's like, you know what? Because we had HACCP programs in place, and the HACCP program was completed. Okay, well, you know what? The manager was just going through the motions. Check, 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 check. Wasn't really taking the temperature. He wasn't really checking the product. You know, just going through the motions. So the programs are only as good as the human being that is human. Now, you can put all kinds of programs in place, but that doesn't mean it's going to work. Okay. The last point I really want to talk about is there are some specialized situations. Now, if you have any establishments that are doing this, they're required to have HACCP programs for these types of things. Smoking food is a message of preserving. Okay, so if somebody's smoking their own salmon, they don't have a HACCP plan in place. Big problem. Huge problem. Okay. Now, if they're using it as a preservative, not necessarily an enhanced flavor, they're smoking it and serving it. It's fine. It's preserving it. Using food additives or components such as vinegar to preserve or alter food, so it no longer requires time and temperature control for safety. You can't can in your restaurant and sell it without having proper license and HACCP. Curing food and custom processing animals. Somebody's doing their own roadkill. You gotta have specially HACCP. And then I don't know if you guys have any that are doing any reduced oxygen packaging and sous vide cooking. You know, Memorial Hospital recently, not too long ago, spent $100,000 for sous vide cooking. Well, they can never get it right. And they've got all this equipment set there. They're never good sous vide.
To do stuff like your cities and your charcuterie and stuff like that, where do you go to get the variances?
It depends on where you're at, but you have to have state, usually it's state regulated. Might be federal, FDA, depending on what you're doing. But usually those types of things are local health department requires state regulated. So it's just going to depend on where you're at. You have to check. Start with your local health department, they'll send you in the right direction, tell you. I don't know all the codes. I'm not an expert on the codes. You know, you need to talk to the health department. Every restaurant is supposed to have a food code book in their establishment. That's one of the requirements of your health inspection to come in. Do you have a food code? Show it to them. You can get them on this now. So what questions do you have for me? My time is up and I didn't leave any time for questions.
Soft serve ice cream, how do you keep people from getting sick on that? You can't keep it cold, you can't keep it hot.
Soft serve is cold.
Soft serve is cold enough that it doesn't fall in that.
Yeah, and it's, I don't think, my guess is, do they call it ice cream? It's probably not ice cream. Okay, soft serve yogurt. Soft serve is typically not ice cream. Part of it is, it's a slow. We don't call ice cream as a certain amount. I can't remember what percentage of butter, but I forgot what else. Like Dairy Queen, they're not serving ice cream. It's just milk, protein, fat. Other questions? I mean, those machines keep it cold. All right. Just a comment about this that is affecting us here today. Don't know if you're aware.